Hello, you guys. It is Friday. I'm not entirely sure what to talk about sometimes. But like I've said before, on a Friday, I've decided that I will do a video. So here I am. I've had an interesting day. It has been, it's been heavy, I suppose. I'm having symptoms of basically glandular fever. So when you have something called chronic fatigue syndrome, or it's also called ME, sometimes you go through these flares, especially if you're stressed, and I've been quite stressed in the last few weeks. So you can tell to a point because I start getting what they call like a butterfly rash, which is an indicator of like autoimmune and stuff like that. What I want to talk about is, if this was me a while ago, I think I'd be a lot more run down. I would definitely be a lot sicker. That's not to say that I don't feel like crap, because I do, and you can see it. Normally this is called an invisible illness, but you can see it today, so it's not good. But I think what I want to talk about is not taking things on board, okay? So there's things that people will do, there's things that people say, and all that sort of stuff, right? You don't actually have to take it on board. You don't have to absorb it in your being. You really don't. A lot of the times when people do things, it's because they're projecting. It's because they quite probably have something going on in their beautiful little inner child, A lot of the times, even though it's directed at you, it actually has nothing to do with you, I feel once I got to that realization, and it's a thing like, to me, I think you call it a spiritual practice because it has to be in practice. You have to keep doing it. Build it up, keep doing it, because it's something that will come and go. But a lot of the times, now that I really do grasp that myself as a healer, I grasp that a lot of people are acting in the inner child. They're acting in unhealed kind of manners, I suppose. And so therefore it actually doesn't have anything to do with you. So then therefore you can get to a point, at least a little point, to place it back with them. You know what I mean? You don't have to place it back and be, oh, this, that, the other, and I'm going to treat you how you treated me. I don't think that helps anyone. But you can place it back and go, oh, actually, that's got nothing to do with me. Thank you very much. I want to talk about, how we can change up energies. It's funny, even me doing this, it sounds funny. As a healer, in my mind, I am pulling things out from my gut and displacing it, replacing it, placing it. Things like these, this can help change the energy up. A lot of the time I'll walk through my house and I'll have this going through every single room, and especially even if I'm in a shit of a mood, I will still do it, and it literally does make me feel better, because what I'm doing is I'm walking around each room, I'm putting this around the whole room and every room, and every time I go into the room, I'm actually saying thank you. Even if I'm having a shit of a time, I still say thank you. I'm still here, I'm okay. You know what I mean? Sometimes there's a lot of things that are going on, but we kind of forget that there are good things too, that there are things that we can actually be grateful for to a point, right? So this is another way you can change up the energies. I don't know how to explain it, but I just feel lighter and better, and I kind of feel like my rooms and my house is protected and all this sort of stuff when I do that. other things you can do, like I think that music is one of the best ways, for me anyway. It doesn't have to be for you. Not everyone's the same. That's why I try and say different things across the board. And there might even be other things too that, you know, that I don't say that might work too for you. Music is brilliant because I find it meditative. Even if it's heavy metal or something, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's meditative because you're in the moment. I don't even think we're really thinking of the lyrics sometimes. It depends what we've put on and why. But the fact is, when you're holding a note and you're singing out loud and you're, lengthening your voice and your exhale, basically, you're becoming more in the moment. You're actually a lot more grounded. There's some times where I'm having a really fucking hard day. Maybe going through the grieving process or something, just sometimes I do have very hard days, especially when you've got chronic pain and chronic exhaustion. It can get to you, There's times where I'll just even put on a song, and there's this really funny band that I've discovered recently. And it's really funny because I like heaps of different music, but I don't tend to listen to much screamo kind of stuff as such. But this band is, and it's hilarious to me because it's this guy that is a comedian and he's posing as a goblin, and I find that really funny in itself. And so their music is very interesting to me. Like I said, it's screamo, but they're basically singing about goblins. And I think for me, the pace of the music, it amps you up, it gets you fired up. And then because of what they're singing about, and because it's a goblin right there in front of your face, it really cracks me up too. So it kind of tunes into my sense of humor as well. But, there's other things you can do. Like, let's say maybe you need to release something. So before you can actually change up the energy in your body, sometimes it has to be released. And sometimes it actually really does need to be released through crying. Sometimes I find I get stuck. I feel it in here and I feel it in here. Every now and then not every now and then. A lot of the times I will hold my cry. It's almost like a reflex, it's something that's been ingrained in me from when I was younger, I think, is to not really cry as such. So I'll hold it a bit, and then sometimes it'll get a bit stuck and it'll go down, and maybe you feel better, you're not as bad, and you don't feel as sad. So it kind of just went back down there, but it's still there. Chuck on a song that's so sad, or chuck on a song that the lyrics you can actually relate to, and it can help bring up a cry, you know what I mean? And then after the cry, we feel tired and stuff, but we feel a lot better and we've released it. That's why we feel better, because it's been released. Spirit is showing me the bath, or the shower. Funny, I'm just even seeing fingers in the creek, Water is a beautiful way to release, and it's also a very beautiful way to relax, especially if you're sore. If you're sore, if you can, find some Epsom salts. Find some pink Himalayan salt. Chuck it in the bath. I suggest when I say to do this, especially if the water's very hot, have some water. Make sure you take a water bottle with you. It will dry you out a bit, but it's actually a very natural relaxant. Relaxes your muscles. It's very good for you. So, also, if I do say anything and you're not quite sure, maybe you've got some medical stuff going on, please check it. Don't just take what I'm saying, you know what I mean? Please check it, run it past someone if you need to, if you've got a specialist or anything like that. But there are a lot of alternative things, and it is funny. I'm seeing that meme thing that popping up in my head, Spirit showing to me, where it's like, plant-based foods and stuff like that, they're the original. They're not the alternative. And I find it funny too how it's called the alternative. Why have they called it that? What are they trying to make you think with that? That's how I see that anyway. But there are a lot of things that you'll find that are very good for the body, that are very, very low cost. Very good to help you unwind. And I also say, and this is what I do too, sometimes like, if I find that it's going to be too tiring or too much for me to have a bath and I'm going to have a shower, but I still am in quite a lot of pain, I will actually get my hand, I will wet my hand in the shower, put my hand in the Epsom salts, and especially I get quite sore and around, you can probably tell it's very, very, very tight lately because I'm flaring. And I will literally just put it on here and let it sit for a bit. Or if you don't want to do that, you can sprinkle it in the bottom of the shower and stand on it, because to me, in my mind, I'm like, you're still absorbing it, you know, and hopefully that will come up into your muscles and help you relax. So water's a really good one too for releasing, you know, or changing up the energies. Releasing, especially if you're going to be in the shower, especially with the waters literally going over your entire body. So when I hop in the shower, normally I have the intention, and I think this is important, is having the intention. Hop in the shower and your intention is, you know, as this water touches the top of my head right down to the tips of my toes and it's washing down the drain, please help me wash away any of my worries. Please help me wash away any of the yuckness that's happened today, or whatever it is that you want to say. And a lot of the times when I'm in the bath or the shower, when I hop out, I actually say thank you, because to me, that's an acknowledgement that that is actually what it's doing. It's helping you wash away whatever you need it to be washed away. Yeah. Now they're showing me the trees and the grass and that good old grounding yourself into the ground. That is very, very important. They're actually saying to me that that's what I specifically need to be doing. That's so funny. Look, I had this card out for a while. This has been on my desk for a few days. Get grounded. Empaths, highly sensitives, connect with nature. And I look up and there's another card just up here. It says, you are not a burden. We are lucky to have you. I feel sad sometimes because I pick up on a lot of different people. And I feel that there's so many beautiful people here that are struggling. And we struggle. Especially I feel if you are very open, you're highly sensitive, you absorb other people's bullshit without even knowing. I shouldn't call it bullshit. It's not necessarily bullshit. It's their emotions. It's their, but it's theirs. And it should be over there with them. This is what I mean by like placing things with people too. But what I was saying is, I feel like there's so many people that are struggling that really, really do not have support networks, you know, and that just makes things so much fucking harder sometimes. I just feel like I do want to come on pretty much every video and just say, like, you are actually loved, and it's not a bullshit thing, because I think it was in the last video I said, the proof is you. The proof is you. Do you care about people in general? I feel like the people I'm talking to on here do. Therefore, you know for a fact that strangers care about you because you care about strangers. You know what I mean? Sometimes it doesn't feel like enough, for sure. For sure. There are things that we do absolutely need as humans, and I think one of the biggest things is connection. But then sometimes we put ourselves out there in different situations that are detrimental because we're craving and wanting that, you know, that affection, attention, whatever it is. And it's not in a bad way. It's human basic needs. But what we don't want to do is place ourselves with people who are not good for us. I learned that it's so much better to be alone in my own energy space sometimes rather than, rather than be amongst some people. And it doesn't mean they're bad people, they're beautiful people, but I'm an absorber hard. I definitely am very empathetic, very caring, very outpouring, and I've had to learn to rein it in, and I still need to tweak that a little bit, only a little bit more now. This is another thing. It's funny, I'm just thinking while saying that, being in your own kind of, what is it? Being in your own kind of energy zone, I think sometimes can be really beneficial, but it depends on if you are okay with sitting with yourself. Sometimes we're not okay with sitting with ourselves, and we really need to dive into that, because I feel that's so hugely important for you to be able to sit in your own space, in your own energy, feel yourself and enjoy it. That's the key, is to enjoy it and to actually get to a point where you actually love it. I love me more now. I used to hate me. I used to think I was disgusting. I used to think I was hideous. I used to think so many bad things of myself, but it's because of what other people said to me, and it's because of what other people projected onto me. It took many, many, many years, and I'm still tweaking that unwinding. Like I said, spiritual practice, keep it up. It can be unwound, and I know that I'm here to help people unwind these sort of things. We can unwind symptoms, we can unwind habits, we can unwind survival modes. We really can. I think I might do this. This is what I did. When did I write this? Early hours this morning. So this is one thing that I find for me, and like I said, there's many things, and I've only listed a few, but there's many, many things that you can do to unwind, to release, to change up your energies. For me, I was very stifled on speaking up. I've been a truth speaker, I would say, my entire life, and that can put you in really hard positions because you're speaking the truth, and most people do not want to know the truth. So I write. I like to write, and that's how I get it off my chest sometimes. And I've also found that being vulnerable and actually sharing some of my writing has actually helped other people too. So I love that. But yeah, I wrote this morning. I pulled back my energy, and it saved my life. I was extremely isolated, but I was so much safer in doing so. If you wonder where I went into hermit mode. I dealt with unimaginable things that when it sings, it leaves rings around your eyes. So that's a little snippet of how I kind of release things. There's been a huge amount of stress in the last few weeks. I've been unfortunately flaring as well because of that. But that will eventually die down. And I think this is part of it too, is knowing that. Even when we have bouts of depression and stuff for months and months and months and years, there are always peaks of it, which also means there are also lows of it. We're not always going to be stuck in the exact same emotion. We have many different emotions, we have many different polarizing emotions, we'll go through 5 different emotions in one go over one subject or something, you know what I mean? And it can be confusing, I suppose, if you're having, opposite emotions happening, but it's very, very human too. It's okay to, I feel like saying you're okay. That's all I see in my head is, you're okay. You're okay. You're actually okay. You're doing a lot better than you think. You really are. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at this. I think 20 minutes is long enough for you guys to listen to me. I don't know how you guys are, but I kind of like watching things at around 15 minutes, 15 minutes-ish, stuff like that. So I'm going to go clear up your energy, beautiful, beautiful people. Even if it's just taking your shoes off, go stand in the grass. If you can't stand in the grass, it sounds funny. They're showing me, if you have any house plants, literally put your hand, even if it's this, that can be enough. That can be enough to just help you ground. It's the intention behind it too. You're intending to do something. You've done something to try and ground. Therefore, you will ground. Eventually, if you're that much wound up with stress and, sometimes we get really shit symptoms. Sometimes if you've got PTSD and stuff like that, we're very heightened with the stress sometimes. It takes time to unwind, but once you start doing it, I promise it makes it just a little bit easier, and it starts to sink in, and the things that are stuck in the body start to actually move. And then once they start to move, you can get them out. Okay? Love you, beautiful people. You take care.